The first day of this winter storm was downright brutal.
I'm investigating several issues, including school violence, sex on campus, and drugs. 20 residents have already left. There's 70 more to go, and hundreds of employees will be displaced, and it's been a back-and-forth battle.
Workers have had to repair at least one of 20 major main break lines throughout the city, and they have been going non-stop since Sunday night.
Now, these supporters were willing to show me their identification cards, but that may not be the case for everyone. It is very windy out here. As you can see, I'm live at the Public Works Department, and look at all this all behind me. It is plentiful and stacked high. To some, it's no surprise that the likely district to get wiped off the map is the 17th. Most students wouldn't expect to see their principal in the pulpit on Sunday morning. We are finding that each year thousands of Americans fall head over heels for their computers. Literally, many seniors are confused about the changes and what plans fit them best. Pharmacists and insurance coordinators say now is the time to get answers to those questions.
This is the third time.
In how long?
In less than a week.
Melanie Wilder is emotionally torn after 3 juveniles burglarized her home on 35th Street in Meridian.
And my house is torn completely up.
Nervous, helpless, violated, and confused, all words that describe the way she felt.
And I don't have anybody to help me clean it up, put it back together. It's something these kids have done to somebody that's never done anything to them.
Wilder says she's seen the suspects watching her house before, and they broke in on Sunday and Thursday, too. She says they broke down her door the last times, but this time they came in through the kitchen window. She says she was luckily not at home at any of those times.
But I tried to keep them in, but today I caught them.
But if it were not for her next-door neighbor, Quentin Emerson, these juveniles may have struck again.
I knew what they were going to do. I'm suspicious of them because they broke in my house, too. And I was looking for them, too. So,
Same people?
They probably were the same people.
He saw the suspects and called 911.
And he's been over there watching out for me, and he's a great neighbor.
Police say the juveniles taken into custody were 13, 16, and 17. The neighbor who witnessed it all says all of Wilder's property was recovered except for some jewelry that may be still missing.
But just stay away from my house if you're smart. Stay away from my house, because you will die.
Wilder says if this doesn't get the attention of officials, what will?
Maybe this will become more important to the city of Meridian.
It's totally unacceptable.
Meridian School Superintendent Charlie Kent confirms that on Tuesday, a female 9th grade student at Kate Griffin Junior High had 2 large butcher-type knives. A third knife was discovered in the girls' restroom. Sources say the knives were between 6 and 12 inches long, but Kent did not confirm that.
It should not be on campus. It should not have been on her person or in her purse. So to get all of the facts and the details of what's going on, I can't make comments to that because I don't have enough information.
School officials say no one was injured, but this incident raises concern about safety issues.
Why wasn't the police called? Why was she released to her parents?
I cannot answer that. That was a call at the building that the building principal made, and it could depend on if it were found and there was no intent of harming another person at that time when the objects were found. I don't have the details. I was just told that the knives were found, the student was suspended, and Mr. Brown and the principal have been working on that.
Kent says with any weapon, the first step is a 10-day suspension, but more punishment is possible, including alternative school or a recommendation for expulsion.
And it's my understanding that that process is in place, and more than likely that student will be brought to the board for an expulsion, and then we'll move from there.
The support was evident today as people lined the streets along the processional route to pay their respects to their leader for the last time and to remember the life of Springfield Mayor Tim Davlin.
a final realization that he is not the mayor any longer.
Great guy. The city's going to miss him.
As his body passed along the streets of the city he served, Springfield residents, supporters, and friends of Mayor Tim Davlin pay their final respects.
And that's a real hard part for all of us.
He loved the city. The city loved him.
From the church to the heart of Springfield, flowing in front of City Hall. Residents say the green carnations represent his spirit and personality.
All the carnations he's given out over the years, just a little bit back.
Making sure the family sees just how much the mayor was loved and appreciated.
A compassionate leader with a terrific sense of humor. That's what I'll remember.
As a friend.
Many miles riding the motorcycle together. Just had a lot of good time, you know. Just going to miss him.
Made everybody in the room feel important.
Even after his body is laid to rest at Calvary Cemetery, many say the disbelief will still resonate.
It just hurts.
Still probably in the way. But we'll never know. So just remember all the fun we had and his smile.
Sorely, sorely missed. Mourners say time will heal as the city tries to move forward. It was a very solemn moment for the city, but a time for people to come together and lift each other's spirits.
I just remember God and angel left there telling them people, I said, you're going to reap what you sow.
Margaret Moffitt of Lauderdale County says it was only a matter of time before Guardian Angels Healthcare of Marion would be forced to shut down.
I don't fault them for her death.
Her mother, Hazel Ann Robinson, stayed in that nursing home for 3 months in 2007 for rehabilitation after a second stroke, and Moffitt says the memory of the abuse still haunts her.
And I remember how they had that woman going to the doctor. And they just didn't take care of my mama.
Moffitt says she recalls linens not being changed, her mother being in the same clothes for days, and even worse.
One instance, she had marks on her arm. The nurse said there was the blood pressure cuff. You know, but she had finger marks in her arm.
Moffitt said she spoke with administration about this matter, and they thought she was crazy. So she took her mother out of the facility and cared for her until she died in June of this year.
The state unsubstantiated any allegations of abuse or neglect or anything of that nature.
Believe in covering up for one another. And I called the state.
And the state health inspection officials cited that facility this year with several violations from alleged abuse to staff falsifying records. And on November 1st, Medicaid will terminate its contract with Guardian Angels Healthcare, forcing residents to find another place to live.
And I know my mom in a better place, but she didn't deserve to be treated like that. She's a human being, too. All of them is.
Cold, very windy, a lot of splish-spots on the interstate.
That pretty much sums up the first day of the winter storm in central Illinois. Snowplowers clearing the snow and drivers traveling at slow speed, taking extra precaution during this ugly winter storm.
It's going to be like this all winter, I feel like.
It was pouring snow with high winds, and travel conditions were not favorable.
We were driving and slid off the ramp, and we just slid down into it, and we thought we were going to flip over, but we just landed at an angle like that.
They were stuck in a ditch off of Interstate 55 near the 6th Street exit. The teens were not hurt, just a little shook up.
It was so scary.
Rick Smith with Capital Towing had to pull the car out.
This is my 8th one today.
Within a matter of only a few hours, and Smith expects that number to double by nightfall.
But yeah, especially as the night gets colder, the wind starts picking up and you can't see as well.
Motorists say driving the speed limit is not a good idea.
Don't try and drive the speed limit if it's too bad, because it's a full-on blizzard out there.
Trying to stay safe on the road while gearing up for what Mother Nature has in store this winter season. Well, meanwhile, in North Mississippi, a 25-year-old Baldwin man has now been charged with felony fleeing and manslaughter following a pursuit that killed a state trooper Friday. Authorities say Master Sergeant Steve Hood's car left the highway and hit a tree. Eyewitness statements apparently led to the arrest of William Francis, Francis allegedly led authorities on a high-speed chase in a car modified for racing after driving westbound on Mississippi Highway 370. Authorities say Sergeant Hood saw the vehicle as he traveled eastbound and pursued it. Moving now to the local political front, just one day for municipal elections, and there is now controversy in Newton's mayoral race after a letter was mailed to residents across the city asking white residents to vote for the white mayoral candidate. Both candidates are now asking residents to ignore the letter and vote for the person most qualified. Democrat David Carr and Independent Robert Moore are both disgusted by this letter signed by a concerned citizen. The letter accuses black residents of paying people to vote and says if David Carr isn't elected, Newton will become a ghost town. Carr says he didn't send the letter, nor would any of his supporters. Moore says the same of his supporters. Both candidates are asking residents to look past what they call a distraction. Now to an update on the accident that claimed 2 lives Monday afternoon. The names of the people involved in that fatal crash on Interstate I-20 has now been released. The Mississippi Highway Patrol said 52-year-old Janine Hodgen of Greensboro, North Carolina, and 56-year-old Wilman Green of Indiantown, Florida, died when the RV they were riding in blew a tire and crashed into a tree near Chunky. The driver, 50-year-old Kenneth Green, remains hospitalized in Jackson. Green is a professional golfer who played on the PGA Tour during the 1980s and recorded 5 wins. Well, we want to thank you for watching Good Morning Meridian. Coming up, we will have that story and more. But first, Stephen is here with a look at weather, and it was such a beautiful day yesterday.
Yeah.
Can we expect the same today?
I think so.
3 young people are dead and another injured today after gunmen opened fire. Good morning. I'm Tametria Conner. Topping our news this morning, Meridian police are continuing to search for a suspect involved in a shooting which occurred last night. That made me hungry. What about you?
It always makes me hungry.
I want a Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit.
Oh, don't even talk about it. I love some Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits.
Turning to weather, what can we expect today? Hopefully sunshine, right?
More of the same.